Before the tears of triumph came the tears that broke him.
God, it's killing me.
Tears of a fallen king. A king who had ruled tennis with an iron grip until a fearless teenager from Spain rose to challenge his crown. Nadal denied him Paris, shattered his Wimbledon fortress. He claimed the throne, ending Federer's 237-week reign as world number one. Then came Melbourne. 2009, the tears appeared, and they moved the world.
Sorry for today.
For nearly a decade, Nadal held the edge. Grand Slam after Grand Slam, he emerged as Federer's inescapable shadow.
But in 2017, everything changed.
After injury, after doubt, Roger Federer got one final shot. This is the story of how the king, who once broke down in tears, fought back and turned them into tears of joy. Australian Open 2009. Federer cruised through the semi-finals, straight sets over Andy Roddick. Nadal, he fought an epic war. 5 hours of relentless battle. Down love 30, 4-all in the fifth set. Against a ferocious Fernando Verdasco at his peak, Nadal gave his all, body and soul.
It's gonna be a little bit tough. He's resting right now and he had 2 days off and one match of all the 3 sets. So at the moment he's for sure the favorite, but I'm gonna try my best.
Rafa is one of the fittest guys out there. It's more of a mental thing for him now than more of a physical, I think. And that's why I think it's going to be played at a very high level also again tomorrow.
The stage was set. World number one versus world number two. A clash of titans awaited, and the world held its breath.
Plenty of motivation for you going into tonight's final.
Well, absolutely. I think it's the first time I'm playing number one in the world in the finals, for a Grand Slam. So that's a new thing for me. And just exciting playing my biggest rivals.
From the first ball, nerves crackled in the air. Both men knew what was at stake.
And the pressure got to them.
Each dropped serve early. First Federer, then Nadal. But soon, Roger found his rhythm. A forehand down the line. A blistering return. Federer struck again. 4-2. As always, Nadal refused to fold. He clawed his way back with pure grit. 2 points of sheer belief. And suddenly, he had break point.
Then, a double fault from Federer. Break back.
The Spaniard did what he does best. Defend the impossible. Retrieve the unthinkable. Mix in brilliance with baseline grinding. Federer, on the other hand, began to press. The unforced errors started piling up. 5-all. Nadal unleashed variety, a perfect drop shot catching Federer off guard. He broke again, and 1 game later, after absorbing Federer's final blows, he closed the set. 7-5. In the second set, Rafael Nadal drew first blood, but Federer broke straight back. 3-all. The Swiss held for 4-3, and then came the turning point.
A marathon game. Endless deuces. Federer earned 5 break points, and finally, he converted.
5-3. He served it out and closed the door. 1 set apiece. The match was reborn. The third set was the tightest of the match. Federer kept leaning in, applying pressure. But Nadal refused to crack. Down love 40 at 4-all, he summoned brilliance. Backhand, forehand, then a gift from Federer.
3 break points, gone.
At 5-all, Nadal faced 15-40. Still, he didn't blink. He saved both. Then another. Federer flashed brilliance in spurts, but couldn't break through.
He left the Spaniard alive, and he would pay for it.
Serving at 5-6, Federer saved set point with a clutch serve and dragged it to a tiebreak.
Maximum tension.
3-all. A rare unforced error from Federer. Mini break for Nadal. Then came magic. A ridiculous point from Rafa. 6-3. Federer, rattled, double faulted.
Set over. Nadal led 2-1.
Converting breakpoints had been Federer's Achilles heel all night, but in the fourth set, he was ready to fix that. He broke early. 2-0. Nadal struck back immediately. At 2-all, the level exploded. The crowd watched in awe. The tennis was unreal. Nadal had 4 breakpoints. He came within millimeters of breaking through. But Federer held firm, clutch under fire. And in the very next game, Roger broke again. This time, He didn't blink. 6-4, 2 sets apiece.
A final set of a dream match.
But Nadal had just survived a 5-hour war days earlier, and whispers of fatigue grew louder with every rally. At 2-1, Federer was serving to level the score. He went up 30-love. Then it unraveled.
An unforced error. A double fault. 30-all. Nadal smelled blood.
He hammered Federer's backhand. Again, break point. And one more assault to the backhand. Break sealed. 3-1 Nadal. The Spaniard had become a master of the 5-set war. He had won 8 of his last 9 marathons. He held to 5th too, and had 2 championship points. Federer saved both, but the third. Nadal absorbed everything Roger threw at him. And then it happened.
Game, set, and match. Nadal. Federer tried to speak, but the words just wouldn't come.
Maybe I'll try later again. I don't know. God, it's killing me.
The ceremony moved the world. Federer's tears. The tears of a king who felt dethroned.
I'll try again. Okay. I don't want to have the last word. This guy deserves it.
Well, good. Hello. First of all, Rog, sorry for today. I know. Yeah, I really know how you feel right now. It's really tough, but you remember you're a great champion.
Nadal left Australia as the new king. He had taken everything from Federer, Roland Garros, Wimbledon, the #1 ranking, and now his hard-court fortress.
Could Federer ever recover from this blow?
3 years after the heartbreak, they met again. Melbourne, where Federer's tears once stunned the world. Since then, they'd clashed 7 times. Only twice on hard courts. Federer owned both, including a brutal 6-3, 6-0 rout of Nadal at the 2011 ATP Finals. A stinging loss the Spaniard hadn't forgotten.
Obviously, I'd like to play Rafa here because of our great epic match we had here in the finals a few years ago. I'd like to get a chance to play him again here.
When we talk about a player who won 16 Grand Slams, I know I will be on court playing against probably the best of the history, so the match is special.
Nadal, ranked #2, eyed the top spot. Federer, #3, aimed to reclaim it.
The #1, Djokovic, untouchable after a monstrous 2011.
Australian Open semi-final 2012. The stats told the story. Nadal led Federer 7-2 in Grand Slam battles.
It's been a long time. I don't know when the last time it's been that we played in the semis of a slam. Maybe back in 2005, maybe at the French. But it's true, we've been, on opposite sides of the draw many times.
Nadal's plan was clear: pepper Federer's backhand with looping high balls. But Federer came out swinging, his shots crackling with intent. He broke Nadal's serve and surged to a 3-0 lead. Patient as ever, Nadal clawed back to 4-all.
The set boiled down to a tiebreak.
In Melbourne's cauldron, Federer knew he had to seize the early edge. Nadal thrives when chasing, while Roger is most lethal when in command. In the tiebreak, Federer ripped a return down the line. Mini break. Then, a flash of brilliance, right when he needed it most. 3 set points followed. He sealed it on the third, set Federer 7-6. That first set gave Federer wings. He looked razor sharp, opportunistic. He broke Nadal again, right out of the gate in the second set. 2 break points, 2 breaks, 100% conversion.
But the momentum got to him. The pressure of leading turned into haste. Nadal pounced. He broke right back.
I was lucky in that game. That was a very, very important game on the match, because if I lose the second set, the third set, probably he plays more and more aggressive, and it's always impossible to stop him.
At 2-all, Federer missed a break chance. Nadal cranked up the intensity. Frustrating the Swiss. Rafa was riding the wave, and his relentless surge never faltered. Then unleashed a stunning backhand pass. Break Nadal. Moments later, fireworks erupted, literally. Australia Day celebrations stopped play.
Nadal led 5-2, a chance for Federer to regroup.
But the pause only sharpened Nadal's edge. He came back ice cold, broke to love. Set Nadal 6-2. Since the fireworks, Nadal had won 11 straight points. Federer looked dazed, his rhythm shattered, until he finally snapped out of it. At 3-all, he pushed hard again. On his fourth break point, he broke Nadal for 4-3.
But once again, he couldn't hold. Nadal broke back. The set stretched to a tiebreak.
Nadal threw everything at him. Forehands, volleys, relentless topspin, probing Federer's resolve. He earned the mini-break, hammered the backhand. 6-1 Nadal. Federer clawed back. 6-5.
6-1 in the third set tiebreak, and then it got complicated. What were you thinking at 6-5?
Please win the point. That's all.
He did. A forehand silenced the doubt. Nadal had flipped the script. He now led 2-1.
Emotion ran high as the fourth set began. At 1-all, Federer staved off a break point. At 2-all, he fended off two more. He even had a golden chance, a break point at 4-3 to serve for the set.
But he rushed it and missed.
His two greatest weapons, the serve and the forehand, had carried him to more titles than any duo in history. But now, they began to falter. As his legs grew heavy, the fire began to fade. Nadal, on the other hand, was rising. Faster, stronger, sharper with every point. What kept Federer alive was the weight of his legend.
But inside, he'd stopped believing.
At 4-all, deuce. Federer attacked Nadal's forehand. Again. Nadal chased down a shot and unleashed a jaw-dropping running pass. Breakpoint.
Federer cracked. Another unforced error, his 58th.
5-4 Nadal. Serving for the final. Federer threw his last ounce of fight into the fray. Nadal reached match point. Missed it. Deuce. Breakpoint Federer. Then the net cord. Nadal's ball grazed the tape and trickled over. Federer had a sitter.
But Nadal, impossibly, returned it. Even Roger looked stunned. Federer earned another breakpoint. 2 errors later, gone. Match point number 2. Federer went all in and missed.
The greatest of all time had fallen again to his nemesis. Another heartbreak, another blow.
The only thing that I did all my career is try to keep learning, no? Because I always saw in front of me one player better than me.
But now, the roles were shifting.
Nadal was in his head, a shadow Federer couldn't shake. He led 8-2 in Grand Slam matchups, 5 Slam wins in a row over Roger. Nadal was no longer the challenger. He'd become the wall Federer couldn't break, an unstoppable force that haunted his legacy.
For me, he was making a little bit mistake against me at the beginning of his career, that he was trying to play from his backhand again with topspin. So he gave me the chance to keep hitting forehands against his backhand.
With another defeat in Melbourne, one question lingered in the air. Could Federer ever turn the tide?
2 years later, their next Grand Slam clash arrived. Same tournament, same round. Melbourne, Australian Open semi-final 2014. Nadal stormed in as world number 1, a juggernaut at full force. Federer, ranked 6th, was scrapping to climb back to greatness. The Spaniard had won their last 4 matches and 5 straight in Grand Slams. He was the undisputed favorite, riding a wave of dominance.
Federer had been battling lingering back issues. Nadal, meanwhile, had returned in February 2013, after a 7-month layoff. By year's end, he'd reclaimed the number 1 ranking. But now, he was dealing with a painful blister on his racket hand.
back physically, and I'm explosive out there. I can get to balls. I can, I'm not afraid to go for balls. And of course, last year at times you couldn't do it, but important is that I can do it now.
The four-time champion, including 3 straight titles, had fallen in the quarterfinals. With Djokovic out of the picture, this semi-final was a golden chance for Nadal and Federer to seize the crown.
Next up, your old friend and rival, Rafa, for the semi-finals. We're looking forward to that. What are your thoughts on that one?
Against Rafa, I mean, we've had some epics over the years, and he's had an amazing comeback last year. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure it's going to be a good match. It's going to be tough. It's going to be brutal and all these things. So,
could the world #1 crush his old rival?
The match ignited with Nadal pressing hard. Federer was on the ropes early, forced to save 3 break points just to stay alive and reach the tiebreak.
At 2-1 in the tiebreak, the Swiss faltered on serve. A costly, unforced error at the net betrayed his nerves, handing Nadal the lead.
Then the Spaniard unleashed a blistering cross-court backhand. Federer tried to respond but dumped it into the net. 4-1 Nadal with the serve. Brimming with confidence, the world #1 relentlessly pounded Federer's backhand corner, sealing the first set 7-6. Nadal's roar signaled his grip on the match. The Spaniard kept raising the bar. His backhand, once a perceived weakness, had evolved into a lethal weapon. Relentless, precise, devastating.
He pushed Federer to the brink, forcing him to scramble, drawing error after error.
The Swiss faced 3 break points. He held on, but only just. In Federer's next service game, Nadal struck like a predator. A fusillade of forehands and ironclad defense overwhelmed the Swiss. After 7 missed chances, Nadal finally broke through, on his 8th break point of the match, with a blistering winner. The world #1 stood firm. Federer was stifled, unable to generate a single break point in 2 sets, his frustration mounting. Set Nadal 6-3.
His intensity left Federer reeling 2 sets down.
3rd set. Nadal broke early, at 1-all. The match seemed to be slipping from Federer's grasp, but for the first time, he earned a break point. He didn't miss. Back on serve, 2-all.
The crowd erupted. Maybe this wasn't over after all.
At 3-all, 30-all, Federer blinked. 2 unforced errors gave Nadal a break point. A cruel net cord snatched his serve, the ball clipping the tape and sailing wide. 4-3 Nadal. He held with authority. 5-3. Federer served to stay alive. A thunderous forehand saved 1 match point.
But Nadal answered with a jaw-dropping passing shot.
Match point, #2. This time, Nadal didn't miss. He sealed his 6th consecutive Grand Slam win over Federer, tightening his grip on the rivalry. Another crushing blow.
For the Swiss, the shadow of his nemesis loomed larger than ever.
First of all, play with Roger, the opponent that when I go court I have very, very emotional feelings. And for me, it's a really honor being in the same era like him.
You and Roger have now played each other 33 times. You know each other so well. What was the key for you in this match?
He was trying to play very aggressive, and I tried to resist, insisting a little bit more against his back, and then trying to change to down the line.
I enjoy playing against him because it's always going to be on center court. It's always going to be a big story, going into the match. So that's kind of what you train hard for, and that's where you want to be. Not as cool when you lose a straight set.
Frustration was starting to creep in.
Rafa's doing a much better job today than he used to. I'm not complaining much about the time, but I think I've played him, 33, 34 times, and he's gotten 2-point penalties over the course of our rivalry. Just think it's not quite happening, I mean, we know how much time it used to take. Either you have rules or you don't. And if you don't have rules, then it's fine, and then everybody can do whatever they want to do. But I just think it's important to enforce the rules, on many levels, whatever it may be. And on all the players the same way, and not give me or Djokovic a free pass just because of who we are.
Fate gave them one last shot in Melbourne, a duel that defined tennis history. They hadn't faced each other in a Grand Slam since that night in 2014. Just one meeting in the last 3 years, a hard-fought final in Basel, 2015.
time and injury had kept them apart. 2016 had been brutal for both.
For Federer, it was his first season since 2000 without a single title. He pulled out of Roland Garros, lost at Wimbledon, and then shut it all down. 6 months off, a knee injury that threatened to end it all.
Coming back to Switzerland, realizing on the MRI that there was a broken meniscus, understanding I have to have my first surgery really as a tennis player. Couldn't believe it. Was actually quite emotional, especially also after the surgery, you know, looking down at my foot and understanding that maybe this leg or this knee will never be the same. I'll start working basically that next day after I came back from the hospital.
Nadal too had suffered. A left wrist injury derailed his season.
Well, just hello, and I'm here just to announce that I have to retire it from the tournament because I have a problem in my wrist.
The Spaniard was a shadow of his former self. He hadn't passed the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam since Roland Garros 2014. By year's end, he had fallen to world number 9, his lowest ranking in over a decade. So as 2017 dawned, neither man was favored to reclaim his throne.
The changing of the guard felt inevitable. But then, the unthinkable began to unfold.
In the second round, one of the biggest shocks in Australian Open history, 6-time champion and defending title holder Novak Djokovic fell to a wild card. In the third round, Nadal was pushed to the brink, but clawed back to defeat Zverev in a 5-set thriller. In the fourth, Federer needed 5 as well, outlasting Nishikori in a grueling fight.
Then came another stunner. World number 1 Andy Murray eliminated.
Nadal dispatched world number 3 Milos Raonic in the quarterfinals, and whispers grew louder.
Could Rafa and Roger really go all the way?
Federer battled tooth and nail in the semis, outlasting Wawrinka in a 5-set war. 2 break points in 2 separate games of the final set threatened to derail him, but under pressure he held firm, twice, and with steely resolve found a way through.
After the 6 months off tour, I mean, what does this mean to you to be back at the Grand Slam final again?
I was disbelief. I had to check the score after the match point was over. I was like, is it 5-3 40 love like I thought it was? And I never ever in my wildest dreams thought I was going to be coming this far here in Australia. And if I can't walk for another 5 months, that's okay.
Let's talk about your greatest rival in your career, Rafael Nadal, and what he's meant to you. And just look into that matchup and give us a little preview of how you'd be looking forward to that match.
Rafael's definitely presented me with the biggest challenge in the game. I think I played him too many times on clay early in my career, and I think that had something to do then the way I played him on different surfaces too. But I think this court allows me to play offensive. I mean, I'm probably his number 1 fan of Rafa. I think his game is just tremendous. He's an incredible competitor, and I'm happy we did have some epic battles over the years, and of course, it would be unreal to play here.
Federer was already waiting in the final. Nadal couldn't afford to slip, yet he was hanging by a thread. Even more than the Swiss. At 3-4, 15-40 in the 5th set, he faced the abyss against a relentless Dimitrov, and somehow with sheer grit, clawed his way through. After 4 hours and 56 minutes of brutal combat, Rafa emerged, battle-scarred but in the final.
It was such a privilege to watch you and Grigor battle like that. For a lot of emotion in the match. Can you describe your emotions throughout that 5th set?
Difficult to describe the emotions. No, first of all, I was tired. I never ever dreamed to be back in a final of the Australian Open. It's a very, very special thing, I think, for both of us to be in a final of a major again. Have another chance to compete against each other after a couple of years having some problems. So, I have been with him, with Roger in the opening of my academy in Mallorca.
A few months back, and I told him, look, I wish we could do like a charity match or like something, but I was on one leg. He had the wrist injury. And we were playing some mini tennis with some juniors, and we're like, that's the best we can do right now.
And I think, honestly, the 2017 final in Australia was another very special one.
think I'll be actually quite relaxed, quite calm, and that makes me maybe potentially more dangerous in the bigger moments because I might play like I have nothing to lose.
The world held its breath. Nadal versus Federer. A Grand Slam final. A gift from the tennis gods.
The dream final did not disappoint. From the very first point, Federer came out firing, sharp, confident, aggressive, intent on dictating terms from the baseline. Both men held serve through 3-all until the first crack appeared. A brutal rally. Federer held his ground, stepped inside the court, and unleashed a perfectly timed attack. Break point.
He drew the error from Nadal. Break, Federer.
He surged forward with momentum. At 5-4, serving for the set, he stayed composed and closed it in style, an ace that wrong-footed Nadal completely. 6-4 Federer.
The Swiss had drawn first blood.
And his serve was so difficult to read. Of course, he was very precise, but for me, with the Roger serve was very difficult to read because he was able to change with the...
He could hit 7 different serves off of the same toss.
Exactly.
And wasn't predictable.
Exactly. For me, it was very difficult to predict what's going on. So, and then...
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Yeah. That's true.
Second set. Nadal responded like a true champion. He adjusted the angles, raised his level, and struck back. Relentlessly targeting Federer's high backhand with heavy forehands, he earned the break. 2, love Nadal. He saved 2 break points to consolidate, then broke Federer again. 4 love, Nadal. An iron grip on the set. Federer clawed 1 break back, but the damage was already done. Nadal stormed through to level the match.
6-3, 1 set apiece.
Nadal carried his momentum into the third, still blazing. He earned an early break point, but Federer, hugging the baseline and taking the ball early, saved it with authority. From there, Roger ignited. This was the kind of set he dreams of, dictating with his serve, pouncing on returns, keeping the rallies short. He knows it's the only way to beat Nadal. Impose his rhythm. Give Rafa no time to think.
And at the end of his career, he started to go in, to take more risk. And he was playing for me. Honestly, 2017, for a while, was the best level of his career.
Really?
For me, yes. In terms of creating, you felt that you were in his hands. You know, of course, on hard, on clay, a little bit different, but on hard.
Federer broke Nadal and surged to a 3-love lead. Fresh, fast, flowing. This was Federer untouchable, liberated from history, unbothered by the scars of the past. There's something unstoppable about Roger when he slips into that trance. Not even Nadal, his fiercest nemesis, could find answers. Another break followed, a breathtaking one-handed backhand return. 5-1.
Of the rivalry and what you guys have achieved over your careers, did you ever sit back the last couple of days and go, oh, this is a big one?
It is a big match. God, like for him, for me, for tennis, for everybody, it's okay for everybody to be like pumped up about it. And I think I embraced it well because I had the necessary distance to it, because I haven't played Rafa in a long time. It's not like he's beaten me like in the last 6 months, 4 times. So I think I went into the match and with a good mindset. Yeah, then I was just trying to play the ball and not the opponent.
He closed the set with finesse, a soft, floating drop volley. 6-1, Federer.
He was 1 set away from redemption.
Fourth set. If anyone is immune to discouragement in moments like these, it's Rafael Nadal. He summoned the vintage version of himself, breaking Federer's serve in the 4th game with a burst of brilliance. In his next service game, he was pushed to the edge. But then came the impossible, a shot so outrageous even Federer had to applaud. The Spaniard led 4-1. From there, he charged forward without hesitation. He closed the set with a ruthless love hold. The match was going the distance. And for Federer, the ghosts were stirring. Subtle cracks began to show, a flicker of anxiety. His flawless timing, suddenly uncertain. He received treatment on his right leg, but the real weight he carried was psychological.
Almost 10 years without a Grand Slam win over Nadal. Not since Wimbledon 2007. It felt like déjà vu, just like 2009.
Back then, Federer had the extra day of rest. Nadal had survived a 5-hour semi-final, and still, he had taken him down in 5. Now, here they were again, headed to a final set.
5th set, the final battle.
Nadal seized on Federer's doubts. He broke serve in the very first game. Then came a moment of truth. Federer had 3 breakpoints. The Spaniard fought them off with guts and grit. At 2-1, Nadal serving. Another breakpoint for Federer. This time, Rafa erased it with a stunning backhand down the line. He sealed the hold with a body serve Federer couldn't handle.
Federer was trailing 3-1. The ghosts of 2009 came flooding back. The tears, the heartbreak, the helplessness.
Was down in the 5th, ended up winning it, where maybe I thought also for a second that it's probably not going to happen anymore tonight.
But this time, he wasn't the same man. He didn't panic. He believed.
And then, the ghost came for Nadal. Just like the 2012 final against Djokovic, Nadal had been a breakup in the 5th and let it slip.
At 3-2, Rafa faced breakpoint number 5. He saved it. Federer pushes again and finally breaks. 3-all.
3 hours and 20 minutes in, the match was level again.
And Federer was surging. He reeled off 9 straight points in the most critical moment of the match. He held at love. 4-3. Then he pressed again. Love 40 on Nadal's serve. 3 more breakpoints. Rafa somehow pulled himself together. He saved all 3. Deuce. Then came the rally of the final. 26 blistering shots. On the 4th breakpoint, Nadal found a huge serve. Deuce.
The tension was unbearable. Federer unleashed again. 5th breakpoint of the game. And this time, he did it.
A vicious backhand return, 5-3. Now he was serving for his first Grand Slam in 5 years. To beat Nadal in a slam for the first time since Wimbledon 2007. To silence every voice that said his time was over. That at 35, coming back from knee surgery, this was impossible.
But nothing comes easy. Not here.
Nadal struck first with a return winner, then a wild Federer backhand. Love 30. A soft volley from Rafa made it 15-40. 2 breakpoints. Federer response? Ace, forehand winner, deuce, big serve, championship point.
Then, a double fault. Hawkeye. It clipped the line. Another first serve. Missed. Second serve on match point. Federer pulled it wide. Deuce again.
Another ace. Championship point number 2.
A classic serve forehand combo from the Swiss. But was it in? Nadal challenged. The crowd held its breath.
Honestly, I thought there was a 90% chance that was going to be in.
Okay.
Yeah, and the good thing was that he didn't go for it, he didn't touch it, so if it was in, it was over. Go so emotional at the end, you know, because here you're like, oh, it's real, it's happening. If they're celebrating, they're not wrong. They saw it as like, I saw it too, it's on the line, look.
The ball was in. Game, set, match, Federer. This time, he turned the tears of 2009 into tears of joy.
Amazing the way that he's playing after such a long time without being on the tour. Congrats. Feel very happy for you. I think was a great match. Probably Roger deserved a little bit more than me. So I just keep trying to have this trophy with me. That is the 3rd time that I have. This is beautiful, but but it's still much better the trophy. So. I'm gonna keep trying hard to have the trophy again with me in the future.
You know, I'm happy for you. I would have been happy to lose too, to be honest. The comeback was perfect as it was. So tennis is a tough sport. There's no draws, but if there was going to be one, I would have been very happy to accept the draw tonight and share it with Rafa, really.
This trophy stood alone.
This one is like stands alone. This one's like a loner. I don't know. This one is so different than all the others.
And in the end, the rivalry gave them everything. A mirror to grow. a fire to endure.
It feels great to share in the court with Rafa, go back a long way with him, and I've seen him grow and become the legend he is today. As much as he's hurt me and hurt my career sometimes, I still always respected and enjoyed the matchups with him. You know, it's not been easy, and I think he made me a tougher and better player over the years. So without him, I wouldn't maybe be here tonight.